Obviously, we have an historic day. We're going to be confirming Loretta Lynch as the first African American woman to be Attorney General. And that is history. Unfortunately, there's another part of history made today. She is the first Attorney General out of 82 Attorneys General to be filibustered and to have to wait this long. That is wrong. That is wrong. The Senate is not working as it should, and it's wrong. I think she's not the only qualified nominee to be delayed by Republicans. More than 3 months into this year, the Republican majority leaders allowed only 2 district judges to be confirmed. Now, I mention this because in the last 2 years of the Bush administration, George W. Bush, we took over the majority. We did 15 of President Bush's judges by this time. They've only done 2 of President Obama's. In fact, 2 more judges can be confirmed today if the Republican leader would just schedule the vote. We have 12 judicial nominees in the committee waiting for a hearing. They're not even having a hearing. And I'll give you another one, when Democrats were majority, we confirmed 68 judges during the last 2 years of the Bush administration. The first 17 months of that administration, we were in charge for 17 months. We confirmed 100 of his judges. They seem to think this is a one-way street. This is partisanship at the worst, to delay those people who should be nonpartisan positions, judges. So anyway, we'll keep pushing on it. All I'd like is to have them do what we did and allow judges to go through. We did this with Republican presidents. They seem to think that's fine if it's a Republican president, but they're opposed to it when it's a Democratic president, and that's wrong.
Thank you, Ranking Member Leahy, not only for your steadfastness on Loretta Lynch, but for the great job you do. Well, by the end, and I want to thank my dear friend and colleague and partner in the DPCC, Debbie Stabenow, as well. Well, by the end of today, the nomination of Loretta Lynch will have finally crossed the finish line. We celebrate because she's finally completed the journey, but we lament because the road was far too long. On the one hand, after today, Loretta Lynch will take her rightful place at the helm of the Justice Department, and I have all the confidence in the world she'll be an exemplary Attorney General. She'll work tirelessly to keep us safe, to prosecute those who have done us harm, to protect and restore voting rights that have been under assault in this country for too long. I know she'll do a good job because I recommended her to the President for U.S. Attorney twice and then for Attorney General once. And she's great, and you will see. In Brooklyn, when she had the most difficult of cases, where the police and the community would loggerheads, she emerged from those cases with both sides, the police and the community, praising her. She's great. So she's terrific, and we believe she'll do a great job. But unfortunately, on the other hand, her day in the sun comes after months and months and months of unnecessary obstruction, obfuscation, and delay. Today's a good and historic day for Loretta Lynch, for the Justice Department, and for America. But it's a day we ought to have been celebrating months ago. The hard right spent months delaying Loretta Lynch for every reason they could think of, except for the single credible objection to her qualifications, because they had none. They couldn't find them. She waited longer than all 2 attorneys generals in our nation's history. She waited longer than the first 54 attorneys generals in our nation's history combined. That's every president from George Washington to Woodrow Wilson. She aced her committee hearings, as we saw, Patrick and I. She had to wait longer to be considered on the floor than any attorney general since the Nixon administration, even though she aced the hearings. So today's confirmation is historic, but it comes far later than it should have. But we're here today now that our Republican colleagues have learned their lesson, that obfuscation and obstruction doesn't work, and that it only makes them look bad. So we're urging our Republican colleagues to pick up the pace of confirming nominees and not let what has happened to Loretta Lynch become the standard operating procedure around here. So far, this Congress has confirmed just 2 judges. Just 2. We've been here for 3.5 months. We've had countless meetings of the Judiciary Committee. 2 judges. And as Patrick said, under his leadership, when George Bush was president, we confirmed 15. So it's not that they're doing payback. That's not true. At this point, yeah, that's right. At this point in the 110th Congress, as I mentioned, 15. So Republicans are badly lagging in confirming the president's nominees. We're here today to say it's time to pick up the pace. The Republican leadership would have you believe the Senate is working again. I don't think the American people would agree that wasting the first month on a Keystone bill that was destined to be vetoed all along, the second month flirting with shutting down DHS, weeks then spent fighting over abortion on the trafficking bill, and failure to confirm the president's nominees constitutes a working Senate. No definition would say the Senate's working. It's time for the Republican majority to get moving on the president's nominees. The delay of Loretta Lynch was simply disgraceful. No other qualified nominee should be forced to face the same. Senator Stabenow.
Well, thank you very much, Senator Schumer. It's my pleasure to stand here with 2 outstanding leaders in the United States Senate and join with them in saying, while we are very pleased that finally Loretta Lynch will make history and be confirmed as Attorney General, it's an embarrassment to the Republican majority and to the United States Senate that it has taken so long. Loretta Lynch is just as qualified now as she was 166 days ago. So why did they keep her waiting almost 6 months? And what will happen to the other 10 judicial nominations that are waiting for a vote? What will happen to Sally Yates, who is now waiting to be confirmed as our next Deputy Attorney General, second highest ranking official at the Department of Justice, reporting to the Attorney General? Like Ms. Lynch, she is eminently qualified to serve, and we hope that she will be confirmed immediately. She was the first female to serve as the U.S. Attorney in Atlanta. She has 2 decades of experience as a prosecutor. She was nominated by President Obama on January 8th of this year and just got out of committee a couple of hours ago. I remember, as a newer member of the Senate during President Bush's time, when John Ashcroft came to the Senate for his confirmation vote. I think it's hard to find certainly a more controversial nominee than was at that time, or certainly since I have been here. Republicans came to the floor over and over again saying elections have consequences. The president deserves his nominee to have a vote. And in fact, we gave him that vote, not 166 days. It took 42 days for him to be confirmed. And as one who voted no, 42 of us voted no on that confirmation, we allowed it to go through without a filibuster. So when you look at the past and the respect for administrations, what is so disturbing to me is that the same respect has not been given to this president. So as my colleagues have said, Senate Democrats confirmed 15 judges by this point in the 110th Congress compared to 2 so far in this Congress. The Republican-led Senate has confirmed nearly 90% fewer judges, 90%, than what Senator Leahy led us to do in the 110th. It's time to get on with the business. Enough is enough. people need to have the opportunity to be confirmed.
Questions?
Senators, could you explain why you didn't confirm Loretta Lynch in the fall when you had the chance and chose?
We did not have the chance. That's a myth. We got all the paperwork got up here on her. I think it was early December. We had about a week or two left. Had we tried to, we never would have gotten the judges through. We wouldn't have gotten her through either. It's very, very clear from a number of senators who would have stopped and filibustered all the things we were doing. We had, but they also at the same time said, but we will take her up right away as soon as we come in. So the question was, do we stop the Senate on something we only had a very few weeks? Remember, this is, you will recall, all the papers all did not come here until into November or later, close to December, and the meetings had just started. They gave assurances they would move very quickly on her, in the same way we did for them. They didn't keep their word. This is going to be filibustered over abortion? Come on. This is so unprecedented. And had we known, maybe we would have stayed in session till midnight of January 2nd. But we assumed that everybody's going to keep their word. Unfortunately, it didn't.
They said to us, they said very simply, we don't want to rush it through, but we won't delay when we come back under the new majority. And they did.
You know, it's just,
A whole bunch.
numerous senators did. And, you know, I assumed they would treat us as we did President Bush when we took back the majority. Obviously, they did not. Now, the good side of this, as everybody would agree, we got a large number of lifetime judges in that we never would have gotten otherwise had we tried to move during that time on Loretta Lynch.
If they would have said to us, move Loretta, we'll move her quickly, move Loretta Lynch quickly, and we're not gonna, that won't stand in the way of doing other judges, we would have done it. They asked us not to. And the implied, or maybe a little less than implied, is we won't get anything else done if you move her.
But it was also stated very clearly they'd move quickly. Any other questions? I'm going to go back to the floor.
Can I ask you three to weigh in on the drone strike news this morning and whether...
On the what?
On the
Drone?
On the drone news this morning and
I
whether...
just,
about it.
no, I have not had I've not had the classified briefing on it, but what I've heard in the press, my heart goes out to these people. I blame anybody that's Al-Qaeda having held them instead of releasing them much before them. The families, I can't begin to think how devastating the news was to the families. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks very much.